exist.
West of the support team.
That's part of what Clubhouse is about, Joe. It's
uncomfortable silence.
Yeah, it does get, it's pretty interesting. People kind of sit with it and it kind of works. But it's kind of it's something that we're all kind of learning as we build the thing. So when I moved up to I grew up in Southern California. When I moved up to Southern California, I didn't own a waterproof jacket. I didn't own a jacket. I didn't own anything waterproof. So it's all kind of what you're used to, you know?
This is a oddly compelling app.
Thank you.
I'm really annoyed that I got lured into this bullshit.
You know where that line is. You know where else I've heard that line is.
I know answers.
The problem is I fucking talk too much publicly as it is. Oh my God, Brett Weinstein just joined.
Oh yeah, bring him up.
Where's Brett? I saw it. It showed up at the top of the app. There's too many fucking people in this room, man. I can't find anybody.
That's your fault. That's not my fault.
Okay, everybody clear out. Room's over. Clear out.
So how do I find?
If you tap the three dots and
I just brought up Brett.
Oh, perfect.
Hey Joe,
Mr.
good to see you.
Weinstein.
Hey everybody.
What's up, buddy?
Jesus, we're all about to get canceled as the intellectual dark web.
Listen, that cancel shit does not work if we all just stick together.
Get Jordan Peterson up here. Where's JP?
Yeah,
we can all get.
He can only come on if his daughter comes on too. It's a package deal.
Hold on, is he on the app? I don't know. I'm gonna see if we can ping him.
No,
I'm kidding.
He's
busy. He's busy eating meat and salt and lecturing somebody.
He's too intense. He doesn't have time for this bullshit.
He is very serious.
You know, I'm trying to get on the app actually. So I've been, hopefully not making any news, and maybe I need to talk to Paul about this. But I've been talking to Elon and the Kremlin because Elon and his.
I saw his tweet about that.
Yes. Paul, I don't know if you know who I am, but I happen to be Russian, and I am very interested in talking separately on a podcast with Putin.
Yeah, you got a hard-on for Putin, bro. We talked about it on the podcast.
It's not a hard-on. It's
a weird Russian thing. You like dictators. It's cool.
I'm fascinated by dictators. I don't like them. There's a difference.
There's a power fetish.
I'm trying to marry one, Lex. If you want to introduce us, that'd be great. Thank you.
Lex, are you trying to get Putin on the app? Is that what you're trying to do?
Well, no. Elon wants to get Putin on the app, and Putin, I mean, I don't want to say too much, but the Kremlin doesn't know what the hell this app even is. And they're actually uncomfortable with the whole idea of even any kind of remote thing that they don't drive. So getting Putin on the Clubhouse app would be like I would have to be in Russia, and so I don't know. I don't know if I can make it happen, but I'm being pressured from all sides, and I'd love to make it happen because one of the compelling things about this app is you can have just these absurd magical moments where somebody like an Elon Musk and a Vladimir Putin with a translator can just be in the same room together and having a conversation. And then without any restrictions, Elon can be his usual crazy self and ask basically any kind of crazy question as he did of Vlad, the CEO.
The other Vlad.
Right? The other Vlad. He has a good track record with the Vlads.
Are any of these people fake, or are there any bots like there are on Instagram? Like, my boyfriend doesn't think I'm hot, like that kind of stuff. Do they have those? Don't look in my stories. LOL.
It is a real identity service. The phone number auth. So the other thing is it's your voice, right? So it's kind of, you can't even have a social media manager manage it, right? It's you,
right? But the picture that you use doesn't have to really be you, and the phone number could just be some burner phone, and you could just decide your name is Natasha, and you have this pouty lip face, and you want to talk about don't look at my stories. How do I delete something?
Yeah, I don't think you'll find much of. Yeah, I don't think you'll find much of that. Most people who are public figures off their Instagram or their Twitter, and that kind of serves as it makes it so you don't really need to have a blue check mark service or anything like
Right.
that.
I'm just bringing that up because I'm looking at ways that people could exploit this, like where weird things can happen inside this app that are, don't
The
make sense.
exploitation.
Just bring just
The exploitation doesn't really come from fake accounts following people. The difference here is that you have to be invited to speak. And when you're invited to speak, you better have something interesting to say, or people will leave. So it's not like Twitter where anyone can barge into anyone's conversation with a fake account and leave an automated post. It's much, much harder to fake anything in this app, and the returns to doing it are very low. And it is, as Paul said, it's real names, real phone numbers, and then also linked to your Twitter and Instagram. So the problems that are going to emerge from this app will be its own unique problems, right? Like there might be demagogues on here who are saying things that maybe some people may object to, or people getting canceled because they were talking a little too freely and they thought it was private, but it's not, or they thought it was ephemeral, but it's not. But it's not going to be. It's not going to be like, it's not the same attack vector. It's not bots dropping into your social media mentions, right? But it may be someone who has something really incendiary to say. Like if you look historically, a lot of the wars and like attacks and so on that were triggered through talk radio, right? Hitler grew up on talk radio. The Rwandan genocide was done by talk radio, right? Even in the US, when you see like fringe characters, they're more likely to appear in talk radio than any other medium. So that's kind of more the failure vector. It's not the bots.
Well, you sound like a spokesperson for the opposition. Hey, Paul, how do you feel about unfettered conversations? Are they bad? I didn't even know what an unfettered conversation was until about 4 hours ago.
So one thing that I really that I get really excited about is the idea of bringing people who have really different opinions and backgrounds and experiences in a room to talk through stuff, right? So I think that because of the reality of the fact that most people live near people that are pretty similar to them and work with people who are pretty similar to them, you don't often get a chance to be in the room with people that have a totally different view on the world and a totally different set of experiences. And I love the idea that we can make it really easy for anyone, no matter where they are, to sort of be in the room and have those conversations. So it's actually like part of what we want to do is bring people who disagree and have different perspectives together. You obviously want them to do it in a respectful way, though.
Are you afraid that once people with Androids join, sorry, Naval, are you afraid that once people with Android join, all the degenerates like me, pour into the app?
That is an absurd statement. I love Android. We're so excited. We're so excited to launch an Android. Are you kidding? Like, we want to make it available to everyone. The only reason we haven't done that is because we've historically been a pretty small team, and we're working to get it out on Android as fast as we can. The thing we think about a lot is scaling intimacy, right? And how do you go from a single community of beta testers to a big global network of many different communities? And I think the room is this really flexible container, right? The club is a really flexible container. So if you can empower people as hosts, as moderators, as sort of admins of these clubs to gather the people that they want to gather and set the tone that they want to set, then you could have, like right now, there are thousands and thousands of rooms going on all over the world, and they're all different, from like small 2-3 person private conversations to big rooms like this that are maxed out on capacity to all these mid-sized rooms where they're talking about crypto and philosophy and sports and parenting and any topic you can imagine. Like, I think that's how you scale it, right? You let people set the boundaries they want to set.
Mostly they're talking about what they had for lunch, but yeah, those are nice too.
Well, there are very different cultures, and the danger I see here is when the cultures mix, the ground rules are very unclear. And I've seen conversations go haywire. I've seen them go to very interesting places, but somehow I think the rules that are posted at the entry to a conversation are going to have to play a big role at some point. Otherwise, it's not clear how it goes on.
Yeah, that said, I find the conversations here much more civil. I mean, Twitter is an excerpting machine where people take what you said out of context and flame you over it, right? And that's harder to do here.
Right, and it's also like there's a real problem with speaking in text. Like, intention is missing, tone is missing, context is missing. Like, at least information that's being exchanged in this form, like you get a kind of clear sense if someone's joking or fucking around. It's you have to be a real asshole to take this and put it in quotes and take things out of context, and at least 7,000 people are going to know you're a piece of shit.
Or you'd have to be a New York Times reporter, but we digress.
That's what I just said.
Right. But like as an example, like imagine that you could only communicate with your spouse over text, right? You'd be divorced within a week. So it's very, if you want emotion
perfect.
and you, yeah, if you want emotion and nuance, then the human voice is the most natural medium. And humans have been like organizing in small groups and chatting with each other since we came down from the trees. And that's really what Clubhouse enables, which is why I personally think this will be the largest social network.
Yeah, that's what you're telling me over the phone, and I didn't get it until I got on it. And now I'm like, damn, this is a real problem. How many people can be in a room at one time?
The other thing that I think is interesting is if without video, you don't have to worry about what you look like. You don't have to worry about how messy your house is, and you can also multitask.
Right, you can lie.
Yeah, Joe, you don't have to do your hair.
Oh,
Yeah.
sweetie.
You can just have a cartoon avatar that makes you look way younger than you actually are.
How many people can be in a room at once?
So we want it to be infinite. It was 5,000 a few days ago. Now we upped it to 7,000. But the goal is to have it be millions.
Infinite, Jesus. This is 7,000. We're at 7,000.
That's the max we allow. So you've maxed it out.
Oh, okay. Has this ever happened before? Have you been maxed out before?
We have been. It doesn't happen too often, but yeah. Like when Elon came on, that maxed it out. Zuck came on like a week or so ago, and that maxed it out.
Hey, for the record, I meant
Naval could probably max out a room. Eric could probably max out a room.
I just wanted to match Elon and then go out on top.
Oh yeah, you did actually. I bet Leah could max out a room.
Thanks
The
a lot.
maxing definitely helps. Yeah.
Yeah.
There are also multiple overflow rooms right now, Joe. So it's 7,100 people in here, but then there are probably thousands of other people listening in other rooms.
How do they do that?
Like 2 tin cups attached by a string, basically. So like someone is in the audience in this room and then plugging it into another device and just going from device to device, listening in another room, basically.
What?
Like a live broadcast. Yeah.
Oh my God, this is madness.
That's the demand.
Jamie
That's the
is
demand for
showing me
this thing.
Jamie is showing me this now. Oh Jesus!
Yeah, like
This
here's
is
the question,
crazy.
Joe. You got into podcasting right at the beginning, right? Now, did you get into podcasting because that was the ideal medium where you had pre-recorded conversations, or were you originally trying to stream? Because if I remember correctly, you were on Ustream before you were podcasting, correct? So you were actually trying to stream live, and that's what this is. This is streaming live done correctly.
I don't know about that correctly.
I disagree with that.
You're here. So.
The other
I'm
thing
here because of Tim Dillon and because I'm drunk.
I'm trying to help Joe succeed, and I feel like he can meet a lot of interesting people on this app and just grow his brand because he's had a real rough time the last year, and we're just trying to help him.
The other thing that we want to do is we want the business to be based on direct monetization for creators. And so like subscriptions, tipping, one-off events, things like that. We want to build that in sooner rather than later so that people can just get paid directly for being here.
You get paid? What?
Yeah, we want to build in the ability for you to like set up a club and people can subscribe to it and only the members can be in your rooms, or for people to do like tipping or to do ticketed events, or some like brand sponsorships are happening organically, but we'd rather do that than build a business based on advertising.
Some OnlyFans type shit, like people are gonna talk dirty.
But Joe, Paul, excuse me if I'm speaking out of turn.
No, never, of course.
I have been able to monetize on the app, Joe, and Paul, I don't know if you know about this, but this has now become my full-time job.
What? No, seriously?
Is being here on Clubhouse.
That's amazing.
So,
I didn't know that.
Paul's like, what?
That's fantastic.
I know. We'll have to talk about it.
What are you doing?
So, okay, Joe, remember how I was just telling you about the stand-up shows?
Yeah.
Okay, so you know the brand Overheard LA, Overheard New York? Okay, if you look up their account,
She just got paid to say that.
Essentially a meme account.
Did you just get paid to say that?
They're cash-apping me right
she
now.
basically tricked you into Clubhouse, and then she dropped an ad right in the middle. Everybody go and block overheard. By the way, that's what I do on
Taylor, please write
that's
about
what I
us.
sometimes do on Twitter. When Twitter puts too many sponsored, ads in my feed, I just start blocking them because I just want to get them out of my feed. But I think it's having the opposite effect of what Twitter intended. So just be careful, Leah. That's all I'm saying.
Oh well, I'm just trying to thank you, Naval. I appreciate it. I just wanted to tell Joe how we were able to monetize. So through the stand-up show that we were doing, they contacted us and saw the show that we were doing. And at the time, we were just having comedians put their Venmo, their Cash App, their PayPal in their bio so that strangers from around the world could tip them. So people made anywhere from like $100 fine to like $500, which is actually pretty good for doing 8 to 10 minutes of comedy from the comfort of your own bed. And then Overheard came in and started just paying the comics directly, which was awesome. And Joe, most people haven't really been able to tour right now. I mean, I just like a month ago featured for Russell Peters, but that's the first time I worked in almost a year. And so, I mean, I want to come out to Austin too and do some shows, but LA is shut down. New York is shut down. So it was so great to be able to create opportunities for other comedians during this time. And now other brands want to sponsor the show. And now we're trying to do a Seder on Passover, and we're trying to secure a brand right now that would be so fun for a Passover Seder and just get a bunch of people together. But a lot of people are trying to come on and monetize, just like how you have, 3 or 4 sponsors come onto your podcast and monetize that way. It's the same thing on here.
Interesting. So the possibilities are endless.
Yes, Joe, yes. Joe, when are you going to have me on your podcast?
Whoa, that's a little needy.
Just kidding.
That seems a little needy.
It's more than needy.
Bad move.
Well,
sorry, Joe.
We've been friends forever.
I'll pull back.
Do me like that. For people who don't know, Leah is related to Hedy Lamarr, which is really interesting. And the reason why I had a bit about women inventors, and that's how she introduced herself to me. Because she told me, what is Hedy Lamarr's your grandmother or something? Great
cousin.
aunt? What is she? Cousin,
yeah. So she's a Keisler and I'm a Keisler. Her last name isn't even actually Lamar. Neither is mine. Shocker.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's Goldman. Welcome to Judaism. And
someone just texted me, will Joe interview the president of Rwanda? Like I have some...
I didn't interview Trump. Why would I interview the president of Rwanda?
By the way, that's the $1 billion question. When does Donald Trump show up on this app?
No. On this? Or this feed, or
where is he
on
on
my
Clubhouse?
podcast?
No, on Clubhouse. On Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Is he allowed on here?
Silence.
Paul
just left the room.
Our community guidelines have rules against the spreading of misinformation or hate speech or anything related to that. And if he violated that, then he would not be allowed on here.
That's a weird way of answering a question.
Hold on, yeah. How do you define misinformation? Like if 2 of us disagree, who's misinforming?
I don't think that's a simple answer.
Oh, you're nervous as fuck, bro.
That's the problem. No, that's the problem. That is a fundamental issue. Yeah.
You went into full panic mode. There's a lot of pausing. That's hilarious.
I mean, look, Paul's my friend, but I'm going to hold his feet to the fire because these are the important questions, and he's going to have to figure them out because it's going to happen.
You should have him on and Bill Maher at the same time.
The fact checking is how they're going to fetter these conversations for sure.
Yeah, what are we going to do? Have a fact checker like always on who's going to jump in? No, I mean, people are just going to say what they're going to say, and the listener will have to figure out what's real and what's not. That's just how the world works. Nobody knows in advance what the truth is. If we knew that, then we wouldn't even need to talk.
Someone's going to come up with an alternative version of this called Fettered, and it's going to be like the parlor of Clubhouse. But it's all like definitely through a filter. Like, we're good. You can do this. You can say what's important.
Paul Naval, you think this is a competitor to podcasting or complementary to podcasting?
It's complementary. It's like, think about how Twitter was to blogging. I think
that's how I view
Clubhouse
it,
to podcasting same way. Yeah.
But it killed blogging. Twitter killed blogging.
No, blogging is alive and well. In fact, blogs get their distributions through Twitter. It's just that Twitter made it so much easier to create content, allowed everybody to participate and to have conversations around blogs, and that's what Clubhouse does. So I do think Clubhouse will be bigger, but like I find higher quality content on blogs than I do on Twitter, but I find the blogs through Twitter. So the same way for long form, high quality content, I'm probably going to go to podcasts, but I'm going to find them and get to know the speakers through Clubhouse. Plus, it's a different thing. Very good.
No, I was going to say that it definitely provides an avenue for people to find out about blogs. But wouldn't you agree that a lot of people who used to write blogs now just tweet?
It's true. I'm guilty of that as well. Yeah,
I think
it's
that's
just easier. You lower the barrier to entry, you make it more convenient. It's true, but I think it's not an either or. Like, look, Twitter is one of the least innovated on products of all time, right? And maybe that's by design. They got it perfect the first time, maybe. But it's pretty easy for Twitter to have added blogs. Like you can now see they're going after Substack, for example. They've announced that, right? So I think all you have to do here is hit save on a conversation, and it becomes a podcast. That said, the quality level probably isn't going to be there because we're riffing extemporaneously. We're not prepped for this at all. And there's not like a thoughtful topic. So there's just something magical to live content, and people want to consume it live. And that's mostly in politics and news and sports. And that's probably going to be the same thing in Clubhouse, or to form new connections. That is one unique thing about this app. On Twitter, maybe you can meet new people, but you can't really get to know them. Clubhouse is the only social app I've seen where you can meet new people and get to know them almost as well as you could in real life, right? It's like a cocktail party interaction. That would be happening. It's like, Joe, you and I aren't like friends. We don't really talk outside of the app. It's just you call me up randomly one day and I ramble to you about Clubhouse, right? But right here, we're spending time in a way that I don't think we would outside of Clubhouse. We couldn't do this. Podcast is too stiff, right? It's too rare. Whereas you can randomly stumble across people in Clubhouse and get to know them. And that's a whole new interaction pattern.
Well, but it has a real downside, though. And the comparison isn't to podcasts, but it's like a cocktail party conversation from hell, because with all of the spectators, the likelihood that you're getting, the candid person on the other side is pretty low. And so you think you get to know them, maybe you get to know a part of them, but it's deceptive. It feels like the seven of us here on the stage are having an intimate conversation, but what are the chances that we would say all the same things, if there weren't 8,000 people listening?
Sure, that's true. I mean, look, the internet is all about one-to-many or many-to-many communication. One-on-one communication still happens, like on Signal or WhatsApp or whatever, but that's much rarer. Now, everyone's a performer, right? Everyone's on stage all the time, and so you're never going to get a lot of truth. But at the same time, it's better than nothing. But as an aside, Brett, I just noticed that, like, your view in the world
it's also, I remember the first time I saw someone post something on...
Sorry. Okay, go ahead, Paul.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I remember the first time I saw someone post something on someone's Facebook wall that felt like it should have been a private one-on-one conversation. It felt really strange, and it kind of quickly became the norm. So I think communication norms change quite a bit over time when you have technology that can lower the friction to these sorts of things.
There's 8,000 people in here. Joe, you made the app. You upgraded it from 7 to 8.
I thought it was only 7. You could only get 7.
No, maybe the team changed it in real time.
Yeah, I think your team is cranky in the background.
No, so here's another way of thinking about it is I think a lot of times social products allow you to do things that you would like to do in real life but can't. Like Tinder lets you date without getting rejected. And like Amazon lets you pick up any product from the store and instantly see 10,000 reviews on it. And so we try and make it so that you can do things that might seem rude to do in the real world, and they're fine here. Like we encourage people to ghost and just like leave without saying anything, which Naval is a champ at doing here. Or like,
one thing I'm waiting for is I want to see real-time audience reactions, right? Like those are that's impossible to get in the real world.
I think the fact that you don't have them can be powerful.
It's true. I mean, if we saw it in real time, it would guide you a certain way, but it would still be interesting to see. I mean, something that's just not possible in the real world. I guess there's applause, right, and booing, but those are pretty extreme cases.
Yeah.
But like if you're a comedian, that's what you're looking for, right? Comedians get up and do stand-up to get the feedback, to know what the audience wants. That's how they hone their craft.
Yeah, I think it's a good point. Like you need to be able to read the room. So I think there are interesting ways to do that. Or like the fact that you can just be a fly on the wall and listen to conversations. That's like going to a party and just putting your hands over your ears, which would be totally rude. Or like the fact that you can look at all the other rooms that are happening while you're listening. That's like, That's like being at a party and talking with someone and staring over their shoulder the whole time to see if there's a more interesting conversation. Totally rude in the real world, but we try and make it so you can do stuff like that, and it just makes it feel lighter weight, you know.
Do you anticipate this eventually evolving into sort of a more intimate version of this? Like what we're doing now, to me, is similar to Zoom conversations without the video. Like the problem is people accidentally talk over each other. You want to say something, but other people are talking. Like it lacks the intimacy of being in a room with someone in real time.
Mm-hmm.
But as virtual reality and augmented reality improve, do you think that something like this can be, I mean, what would really be fascinating is to actually, like if you could scan yourself and have a virtual reality conversation with a person, you know, whether it's through, you know, the HTC Vive or whatever, where you're in a room where you really see the person and it mimics all the social cues and all of the things that make being around a person having a conversation so much more satisfying.
Well, you know what's actually kind of crazy? I think you can make an argument that voice only is the most intimate medium because you have all the intonation, inflection, and fidelity, and tone, and bids and asks, but you don't have any of the anxiety of video. You don't have to worry about what you look like. You don't have to worry about how messy your house is. You don't have to worry about body language. And so people lie down on their beds and they stare at the ceiling, almost like you're at a therapist's office, and you just talk for hours and hours, and you're really sincere. And you can have
that sounds to me like a guy who's trying to sell Clubhouse hard.
No, but hold on. But look at the evidence. When given the choice, when given the choice in social, people actually prefer to strip it down to its barest essentials. Like you could have Twitter and Facebook right now today with 3D graphics, or at least a sense of location or space, or have better photos of you, but they don't. Like Twitter doesn't even let you add more than one photo. Twitter doesn't let you spatially position yourself. Twitter doesn't let you have like real-time conversations, right? Because people want to just bare minimum focus on social. They care about the socialization, not about all the other pieces.
Yeah, but this is a conversation. That's not a valid parallel. This is a conversation.
Video is a bug, man. It's not a feature. Like I don't want to see everybody in this room's head moving around, right? That's like too much information.
But that's video. What I'm talking about is augmented reality or virtual reality, where you literally feel like you're in the room with the person, like a virtual reality video game.
The technology there is so far away, and it's so heavyweight.
How far?
Like, do you want to strap a rig onto your head right now and walk around your room? It's too much.
Have you ever used Oculus?
Yeah, I have both the Quest 1 and Quest 2.
It's a headset.
Yeah,
it's not that big a deal.
Nobody uses it twice. That's the kind of product you put on once. You're like, holy shit, this is amazing.
What are you talking about?
Who uses Oculus more than once? That thing has not taken off.
It's nonsense. I use it all the time.
You're a weirdo.
Studio.
You're a weirdo.
No,
you're a weirdo.
My kids, when they come to my studio, the first thing they do is run over and grab the Oculus and start playing games on it. It's awesome.
Really?
Yes.
You're the first person I've heard that for.
That's not true.
I get no repeat value out of it. The thing gives me a headache. The games are repetitive and lame.
Some people like jazz. Some people think it sucks. Listen,
it hasn't taken off as a product. It had the numbers or the evidence. It hasn't taken off as a product. I'm not saying it won't. I'm a big believer in VR AR, but I think it's got a lot of problems. It's still quite a ways from prime time.
Don't you remember when VR was something that was like really thought of as being the future? You remember that? You remember when people thought about VR?
No, it still is.
Someday.
It still is.
I think it still is. It's just a ways off.
Right. But it's not quite there yet. But if you get into games, like what's the game where you have the wands and you whack at the cubes that are coming your way? You know what I'm talking about? There's like a few of these games that like actually provide you with a cardio workout. Like there's some amazing boxing games where it kind of feels like you're boxing some cartoon guy, and they're really fun, and you get a workout while you're doing them. There's games where you walk along a plank, suspended in between two buildings, and it's really kind of a freak out. You look below you, and it seems like, you know, kind of a cartoonish, pixelated version of what it would look like if you were on a balancing beam in between two buildings. Like they're interesting. And I think if we could get it down to you scan yourself and you're in a room with someone and you just meet a random stranger and have a conversation with them, and that's who they actually are, and you get to see their actual face, it would be more intimate than than what we're doing right now. Not that I'm saying
I'm not denying that. Yeah. No, Ready Player One, that vision when it comes to real life will be far more compelling. That's said, we're quite a long ways from it. Technology is not there yet.
I think there are some cases. I think there are some cases where you want to emulate the real world, and there's some cases where you can do better than the real world. And I think it would be more intimate in some ways, but I also think it would introduce anxiety around like body language and other stuff like that. And you can't multitask. So you couldn't do it while you're driving, while you're running, while you're in bed at night, while you're doing other stuff. And so there are pros and cons to it.
Yeah, I think I agree with Paul here in a sense that the sweet spot is we are having an intimate conversation, with we're not projecting to an audience. We're talking in a regular tone of voice right into each other's ears, and that is intimate. And it does mean that you can multitask. But on the flip side, Clubhouse creates a huge problem, at least in my life, which is because it's not asynchronous, it interrupts my other activities arbitrarily. I may walk into a room like this one, have the bandwidth to sit down and talk to you all, and then something may happen here at home, and I'm trying to figure out whether I need to leave the room or how that's going to work. And I don't, frankly, I haven't worked it out. I don't know if this is a problem for other people who use the app, but the fact that things are happening when they're happening and that the other people in your life are completely unaware of what's going on makes it hard to interface with.
Yeah, meanwhile, while this is happening, your brother is texting me, telling me to get off of it.
What?
Brother Eric,
are you serious?
He's texting me right now.
He's jealous.
Eric's in trouble.
He's jealous. He's jealous he's not here.
I'm kind of kidding because I was telling him to get off of it, and now he said you convinced me to get off it, and Tim convinced you to get on it, and Tim could never convince me with your argument. Oh my goodness, it's so confusing. It's like two mirrors facing each other. It goes on forever. What is reality?
Smoke some DMT, man. Smoke some DMT.
What are we doing here? What are we doing? Listen, I can only do this for so long. I have to get home, and I have children to talk to and dinner to make.
I just want to remind, if everyone's happy with Joe coming on, just follow Tim Dillon on Clubhouse. Thank you.
Yeah, and Paul,
Done.
Get me my name. Get me my real name, bro.
Okay. Yeah, I'll I already sent a note.
Joe, we're holding out for Joe.
No, Naval. I want my actual name. There's a lot of Joes. I want Joe Rogan.
I want the letter.
Christ,
I want half of the letter J. I want it to be the shortest possible name.
You're so silly, Naval.
Capital J. He's just gonna. He's holding up for capital J.
It was nice to be here. It was nice to talk to all of you. Naval, nice to talk to you. Thanks for the invite. Lex, I love you. Brett, I love you too.
Love you too, brother.
Paul, it was very nice to meet you through this application
Why
you
don't
created.
You love me?
I love you too. Leah, I love you.
Love you, Joe.
And you guys are awesome. And
love you, Joe.
Get the fuck out of here.
Great to see you here.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you,
Yay. See you soon,
Bye-bye.
Joe. Love you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
What is the name of this room? Is it all these people listening to this room?
Yeah, all these people are now listening to the room.
Hilarious.
So people, we do this for 4 or 5 hours.
This is crazy. All these people just joined?
Yeah, have you ever? You've had a lot of people.
Bro, this is bananas. Look at the scroll.
See, this is big.
Thousands of people just joined
Immediately,
That is nuts.
and they're all just mining Bitcoin and listening to this.
What is the name of our room?
I think it's just, I don't even know what it is. I think it's just Joe Rogan or no, it's just Tim Dillon. But now the people that you're in it, I didn't name it. You can name it anything you want, but I didn't name it.
How come you didn't name it?
I just didn't name it. I wanted people to be surprised. This is a big moment for Clubhouse.
Oh, Christ.
And then people are going to come in soon. Like the Weinsteins are going to be here in like 3 seconds. I don't know why they're not here already. Because
why isn't Eric talking over us right now?
I have no idea. Eric is going to go. Eric's probably like pulled his car over to the side of the road right now and killed his family to get on this right now.
See, this is why we can't have an unfettered conversation. It's people like you.
Oh, she's definitely in here.
This should be fettered.
This has to be fettered and moderated, and
yeah, we need to fetter things.
Yeah, once she figures it out, she'll be in here big time. So this is the app, and you could just jump into different rooms and talk to people about like, are you good for science?
Am I good for science?
Yeah, that was a room.
I heard about that.
Yeah.
Progressive or problematic? Is that what it said?
Yeah.
I try to be good for science. I really do, folks. How many people are in this fucking room, man?
We've got about.
Oh my God! There's almost 2,000 people in there.
So the max will be the max is 5,000 until they open it up. The max will be 5,000.
I just want to say that I'm here against my will. And Tim Dillon, who's been kicked off Airbnb and cut the line at Whataburger, he forced me into this.
This is, I think, a good move for Joe. I just want to get Joe comfortable with being listened to by a lot of people.
Yeah. Okay.
So
what do we talk about?
I mean, we talk about anything,
Talk about how I lured you into Austin, only to trap you with the weather.
We're all here in Austin, and, it's a great time to be here, and we're all, boiling water to live.
Yeah, but it's okay. A lot of people lived on dirt floors. That's why we're here today. People lived when there was no such thing as electricity. How about that? That's how you get to be a human.
That's a great point.
There's a lot of evolution has to take place, and sometimes things go backwards.
People live when you couldn't get on a plane to Cancun with your family.
People get angry when they find out someone's a prepper. Like, what do you want them to do? Starve to death, you fucks?
That's a great point. People they look negatively at the prepper community, and yet the preppers are smart.
Well, I was telling you, I don't know if I told you, but I have an apocalypse truck. Like I built a truck that has a giant gas tank. It's a 1995. I didn't build it. I'm an idiot. I hired Jonathan Ward from Icon to build it. It's in the back. I'll show it to you. But it's a truck that can literally drive over anything. And it came in really handy this week. I mean, I had to go to Home Depot to buy a grill because if the power goes out, you got to be able to cook. So I bought lump charcoal and one of those little Weber grills. And I drove my truck out there, and people are sliding off the fucking road and slamming into ditches. I was fine.
Yeah, I mean that's prepper. You're a prepper, but you also are somebody who likes to survive. Like you think a lot about survival.
Well, I don't think about survival that much, but I do worry that people take for granted that the way things are now, they will always be this way. I think there's a tendency to look at things because it's, that's one of the things about marijuana, right? Like people say when you smoke pot, you get paranoid. But I think what that paranoia is, there is real paranoia for sure. But there's also people recognizing that like, hey, like we're vulnerable. And I don't think about that vulnerability because it's inconvenient and it keeps me from like doing like normal everyday tasks.
But that's because you're smart enough to make the connection what real vulnerability is. Because a lot of people just get high and go, I think the guy behind me at McDonald's is a cop.
Yeah, well, sometimes he is a cop.
Right. It's a good point.
Right? Like
point.
If someone says like, I worry that the government's listening to me. Well, then you listen to Edward Snowden talk about it. You go, oh, they are. Yeah. They fucking really are.
So it's good to be a little bit of a prepper, and it's good. So the thing with the Clubhouse app is there's all these people in the room. There's like 2,000 people in the room. There are people with their hands raised because they want to talk to you. We're not letting them in.
There's people with their hands raised?
Yeah, they want
to. Let me look at this video thing.
They want to say
their hands
raised.
Joe Rogan. How do you know their hands are raised?
Because I see it because I started the room, and on the bottom there's 277 280. It keeps going up. People that want to talk to you.
Come on.
Swear
Really?
to God. Yeah.
Jamie's showing me right now.
Are you unaware of
Jamie's
this? You're a famous person.
I'm not
Are you
paying
unaware?
attention to anything, man.
Yeah. Are you unaware of you are popular and famous?
Is Eric doesn't have his hand. Eric's in the room, or is
Yeah, we're gonna bring Eric up right now.
Eric, hey, sweetie.
Here we go. Here he is. Here comes
We
Eric.
bringing him in?
Yes, he's in.
Hey guys,
boy.
what's going on?
Hey, fella.
I can't believe
up?
they got you too. You were just telling me to get off this app.
Listen, I'm hammered. Tim and I just did a podcast. I had a couple of drinks and I smoked a cigar, and we're in.
Well, we're all on DMT and here to welcome you. So nice to see you.
Well, that's not true. Don't lie to me. I'm vulnerable.
Are you kidding? I'm eating frogs as we speak.
What are those little things in the corner of people? These little images in the corner of their like, what is that little thing?
The party hat?
I have no idea.
It's a party hat. Is that what it is?
The party hat is to tell people to be nice to you because you don't know the rules and culture of the app yet. It's protected.
Really?
Right. You're new.
Wait a minute. The party, that's what the party hat is? Like to tell people to be nice to me?
Exactly.
That's kind of cute.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
It's a way to welcome you to the app because you're not familiar with all the rules yet.
What happens if I accidentally click on one of these people? I'm scrolling through this.
Click on them and now they come up to talk to us.
No, we don't want that, right?
No, you're not a moderator. Give him the power, Tim. Make him
a moderator.
Okay, don't give me any fucking power.
Joe, you've just been made a moderator. You choose your destiny.
Shit. All right, I'm gonna.
You can bring someone up to talk.
Can I get rid of him though? Once I invite him in?
Yes, you can move.
Try getting rid of me. You can do that right now.
No, I don't want to get rid of you. I love you. Come on, man. Don't be insecure. So what's happening, man? Hey, what was the verdict? Am I a problem to science, or am I okay?
Definitely, you're a pox on the face of science. You've embraced. No. People don't feel it. What they concluded was that you were 80% amazing and 20%, wait for it, problematic.
I agree with that.
Really? You only 20%?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, I don't do a lot of math, but I would say there's definitely an argument that some of the shit I say is useless.
I think there was a good argument, actually, that said that maybe we should introduce people to a non-sanitized version of science, which is messier and crazier. And that, in fact, maybe what you're actually doing is closer to reality, where people have to say things that are wrong in order to make their, way to the frontier.
The frontier. Ugh. How many people are in this fucking room?
We got about 3,000 right now, Joe.
Jesus Christ.
And so at the bottom, followed by the speakers, those are the people that me and Eric follow. And usually to grow rooms on Clubhouse, you bring people like Adam, who's a really cool dude. He's a VC guy, venture capitalist in Austin, and he's like Mr. Austin. He's in the room. There's a lot of people that are followed by both me and Eric, and then usually these rooms grow, and it's an interesting thing. And I spend about 5 to 7 hours on here every day. And you have a lot of time, so you can do that too.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of time. That's the problem. It's the reason why I've resisted this. Tim talked me into doing this. We just did a podcast. It'll be out tomorrow. And Tim is in another room, right next to me here. And Jamie is sitting here shaking his head, going, don't do this. Don't do this.
What if
Jamie's
Spotify finds out you're hanging out on Clubhouse? Then you're going to have real problems.
Do you think so?
Actually,
I don't think it's in my contract.
Well, I would imagine that also, one of the things that people assume is that somehow Spotify has control over you. And I think it's quite the other way around. I think that the weird thing about this app is that the monetization stuff hasn't been figured out. And the key question a lot of us have is what will be the effect on long form podcasting if this kind of spontaneous stuff with more interactive stuff, interactive features takes
if this
off.
Somehow kills long form podcasting, then it deserved to die.
Well, that's interesting because the other question is that this is sort of like Discord, but Discord has more features, and the crazy feature of this thing is that it has fewer features, and that may actually increase the benefit of the experience. We're still trying to figure that out.
Interesting.
I'm waiting for Clubhouse to give me a buyout.
How much would it cost?
$2,700.
That's all it takes, and you're out.
No, if they gave me like $3 million, I would just do everything.
What if they just reinstated you on Airbnb?
If they did that, then I would owe them a lot too. So if anyone's worked for Airbnb, so Joe, can I let Adam speak? He's like, he owns Austin, literally.
No
Okay.
more people.
Adam,
four
sorry.
fucking people.
Adam, I tried.
We have 4 people in this fucking room. Isn't that enough? You do a podcast with 4 people. People are talking over each other.
That's a good
and
point.
One of them is Eric Weinstein's 2.5 people. So we have a lot of people.
I will be less.
Come on, man. Don't be less.
Joe, do you think? But the potential for the app is kind of interesting.
Yeah, for people that want to waste a lot of time talking to strangers, it's a great move. What did Jamie say? What did you say, Jamie? Jamie just got a text from someone about Clubhouse.
You're too productive.
About the one I'm in.
You got to realize that you should spend.
Well, no. I'm not too productive. That's not true.
Yes.
Listen. I am the laziest disciplined person I've ever met in my life, and I know this. And I can't be involved in something like this. It's too much of a time suck.
It has an interesting addictive quality because, like, you could just go on at any time and kind of get into it with people. It's instant friends. It's a great.
I was talking to Naval on the phone. Naval Ravikant. I was talking to him on the phone about this, and he was the one who sent me the first invite. I actually followed his invite. That's how I'm here. And he was saying all these glowing things about it, and I'm like, okay, but it seems like it wastes a lot of time. And there's a pause. He goes, yeah, I waste a lot of time on there. I'm like, I can't do that, man. I can't fucking do that. Smart people waste time on this.
Well, one of the things that I think isn't clear is that a lot of what the app is has to do with collisions between people who you'd be dying to hear a conversation between. So when you get one of these alerts that tells you that 2 people you didn't know even knew each other are in a room talking about some topic that's interesting, and then you get like 3 of these alerts and you have simultaneous rooms in which any one of these conversations would be very unusual, I think that's going to either go down or increase over time. It's unclear whether it's a novelty effect or whether, as people discover more different, more combinatorial possibilities, whether the thing is going to increase in interest. I'm completely unclear.
I wish I paid attention to what you just said, but I didn't. So
what else has changed? I'm just saying that you'll get notifications that like
no, my notifications are off. I don't even have my fucking real name, man. They wouldn't let me have my real name. Someone stole my name.
Yeah,
criminals.
It's crazy, but
criminals.
I think that, Joe, you only start to enjoy the app when you're like, you have to just commit a serious amount of time to it, like I have, and then just keep going on. And
good call.
It's a fun. Don't you want to network, Joe? Don't you want to be successful? This is what it's for.
Joe, this could make your career.
Yeah, Joe. Don't you want to grow an audience? This is why you're on it.
You could seriously get up to 50,000 followers quickly.
Why do you think people do this? What do you think is the appeal of this?
It's a good way to network.
COVID?
Well, if you're isolated and you're like, basically I use this to walk my dog and do my dishes, which is embarrassing, but it's pretty amazing the thing you have to be careful about is if you're talking while you're on the can, you have to be really good with the mute button.
When you flush, you mean? People don't want to know that you flush?
Let's lead over this topic and get to the next one. Tim, what do you got for me?
Another topic.
But no, Joe, what this is good networking. Like, you meet people that you wouldn't know from regular life. So you can become friends with people in all different worlds.
What? There's different worlds?
Yeah. Like Bitcoin and woke politics and everything. I mean, everybody's on the house, man.
Oh, okay. My friend Leah Lamar is in here.
Yeah. Okay. She wanted to say something, but you said there were too many people. So
yeah, but I know her. We can invite her to speak.
Bring her up. Then bring Leah up.
Okay. She's in here.
Hey, Joe. Hey, Tim. Hey, Eric.
Oh, hey.
Hey.
What's up?
Joe,
what's up, woman?
I'm so happy to see you.
I'm happy to talk to you too.
Wait, I have a question. Why, of all the photos you have of you, why did we decide on this one?
Well, I just took it moments ago. I took it right before I got on. This is all I'm being like lured into here by Tim Dillon. He has some sort of ulterior motive for me being on this.
He wants to sell you Bitcoin.
Maybe.
Is it working, Tim?
I'm just trying to try to help Joe out to succeed. So I'm trying to bring him on a platform where he can meet interesting people and, try to grow his thing.
Is this the biggest platform you have, Leah?
It is, Joe. I'm having a blast on here, to be honest.
How many people
love
you got?
Clubhouse.
How many people follow you on this thing?
Too many, Joe.
Oh my
I
God, you have 119,000 followers? Holy shit. How long have you been on this thing?
Well, so I got invited in early December, and then I didn't really start using the app until like kind of mid-December because I was confused on how to use it, and I wasn't like properly onboarded, and it's a little confusing at first. But now I live here. I'm embarrassed to show you my screen time of how many hours I spend on here. This is my home. I should pay rent here.
Leah's an OG.
Is it a good thing?
Yeah, it's the best thing.
Leah's an OG, and there's a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun on here. Joe, I know you may not love to hear this, but so Tim did the show that Nicole and I host. Nicole's in the audience too, Nicole Benham. She brought me on the app. We do a stand-up show every 2 weeks on here, and it's super fun because we get a crowd. You can get a crowd of over 5,000 people in a room. We haven't hit that number yet.
Lex Fridman just tried to jump in.
You can get a crowd of
how many people? Wait,
I let Lex in.
You can. I think the rooms now go up to 6,500.
That is
but
ridiculous.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, and we were able to put Lex. We were able to put
Well.
There goes the neighborhood.
What's up, Lex?
What's up, brother? You made it. Sorry. It's iPhone crowd.
I'm here, man.
Get an iPhone.
You need to get an iPhone? Is that what you said?
No, this made me get an iPhone. There's no Android. That's one of the
No,
reasons.
really?
No Android, people.
Oh, that's rude. You have a separate phone just for Clubhouse?
For Clubhouse and for testing apps on iPhone. Yeah.
Interesting.
By the way, Naval is here as well as Mark Andreessen. So this is sort of the weird attraction to it is that what would it take to have all these people in real life end up in the same place? It's much more difficult.
Naval's in the room? Where's he at?
Yeah, he's in the audience.
Too many people.
He's not that far down.
How far is he? Where is he? Where's Naval? I can't find him.
Second row from the bottom.
Not my row.
Kind of
Naval's
profile photo.
Okay, he wants to be invited. I invited him to speak. Here we go. Hey, motherfucker. You're the reason why I'm here.
I know. I'm sorry. Sorry to drag you into this.
I was just explaining. I don't know if you heard, but I was explaining that you and I were having this conversation over the phone, and you were telling me how great it was. I go, seems like a waste of time, though. And you're like, yeah, I waste a lot of time here.
But what else do you do with your life anyway? I mean, aren't you frozen in right now?
No, I drove here. I'm at work. I'm at the studio. Tim Dillon did the podcast with me today. It's not been that bad, man. It's like, it's been bad for people that didn't have power and didn't have heat and didn't have food. But I'm like a semi-prepper. So I was prepared, at least slightly. I have a vehicle that can kind of drive over anything. And I had plenty of food at my house. And, I grew up in Boston, man. I'm used to this shit. It's not that big a deal to me to have frozen roads. You can't go.
The lesson of 2020 is that prepping pays off.
Exist.